In this week's video, I'll begin to address the shear line. The shear line is the top edge of the hull, often where the hull and the deck meet. This line is arguably the most important line on the boat, and we're going to take some extra steps to make sure that it is fair. As you can see, the shear of our kayak has areas needing to be built out and areas that need to be removed. Before I get started in this next section, I want to talk about the sanders that I'll be using. The sander on the left is a rotary sander, and it is excellent for removing a lot of material quickly. It has a single axis of rotation, which means it spins the sandpaper, and that's about it. The sander on the right is a random orbital sander, and it has two random axes of rotation, which is good because it prevents you from putting half-moon gouges into the piece you're working on. So the sander on the left is good for removing a lot of material. The sander on the right is good for smoothing. I'm going to get started here with the sander that was on the left. It is a grinder. It is going to remove the bulk of the material that's overhanging our sides. The key thing to remember here is to keep it moving. I could grind a hole in the side of this kayak without a whole lot of effort, so I'm going to be really careful about keeping it moving. Again, the sides of the kayak are really nice and fair, so I want to match the deck to that. So that's where we're headed here. I'm going to start with the grinder, and then I'm going to follow it up with the random orbital sander to hit any lumps of Thixo that I missed, and to generally try and bring this boat into a nice fair shape. At this point, I've removed all the excess wood from the top deck, and I've brought them in line with the sides. It's now time to start thinking about adding material. So I'm going to use a batten for this. A batten is a thin strip of wood with all parallel edges, and when bent, it can make a fair curve. So I'm going to use these. I'm going to put some Mylar shipping tape on it so that the glue doesn't get stuck to it. Thanks to a set of geriatric GoPro batteries, you missed the scene where I nailed these battens to the side of the hull. But what you can see here is that the batten is projecting the fair hull shape up to the top edge or the shear line of the boat. And it creates a void in which we can fill with some thick sill. So that is where we're headed. As you guys can see, there's still some areas that need some filling, but overall I'm happy with the results. The thick sew is out to the shear line and the rest of the putty can be 410. That's going to be our next video.